So let's read this question. It again came in CAT 2019, and I would say slightly difficult question, challenging question, but pretty much manageable. So we have to find the odd one out. We have to pick the four sentences that will go together and form a coherent paragraph, and the one that does not fit in that sequence becomes the odd one out, right? So it says here, stat signals something measurable, while matic, again, if you look at one here, it is having that haphazardness, which is somewhat awkward, not a good opening sentence, I would say. It says it was a totem of high modernism. What was a totem of high modernism? So this, both 1 and 2 cannot open the paragraph. Like the heraldic shields of ancient knights, these morphemes. So these morphemes must refer to something. So again, 3 cannot be the opening sentence. To gain the suffix was to acquire. Which specific suffix are you referring to? So we know that the suffixes have come in statement 4, and therefore 4 is likely to be the opening sentence, most likely to be the opening sentence. Let's have a look at it. It says here, the historian Robert Proctor at Stanford University calls the suffix tron along with matic and stat embodied symbols. So Robert Proctor calls these embodied symbols, right? So after this, where can you go? You can definitely go to 5. You can say to gain the suffix was to acquire a proud and optimistic emblem of the electronic age. So the suffix refers to these suffixes. But the problem is that before you go to the suffix, shouldn't you go to statement 1, which says stat signals something measurable, while matic advertised free labor, but tron above all indicate control. So the author introduces the suffixes in 4 and goes on to explain what those suffixes meant. So rather than having 4, 5 as a pair, you should have 4 and 1 as a pair. And then to gain the suffix was to acquire a proud and optimistic emblem of the electronic age. So these are the suffixes, and this is what they meant. And to gain was, it could be possible, right? Like the heralding shields of ancient knights, these morphemes were painted onto the names of. So these morphemes would refer to the morphemes in 4, because morphemes basically means morph. See, when you morph means you change. So here these suffixes were used to basically give new names. So these morphemes refers to suffix tron, matic, and stat. Some of you might wonder that what is these morphemes here? The morphemes are nothing but these tron and stat and matic, because they can be connected, and that is how you morph a new word, you coin a new word. So we realize that this electronic and atomic age is nothing but they were painted onto the names of scientific technologies. So again you get a feeling that 415, instead of 415, the better combination would be 413. You say the historian Robert Proctor at Stanford University calls the suffix embodied symbols. These suffixes meant these, like the heraldic shields of ancient knights. These morphemes were painted onto the names of scientific technologies to proclaim one's history and achievements to friends and enemies alike. To gain the suffix was to acquire the proud, optimistic emblem. Now the point is whether it is 4135 or whether it is 4153, that's immaterial. What we know is that 2 is indeed the odd one out. It was a totem of high modernism, the intellectual and cultural mode decreed no process or phenomenon was. See, the problem is, if you look at it was a totem of high modernism, the intellectual, cultural mode, where is the intellectual? And see, you're talking about technology. Intellectual and cultural mode that decreed no process or phenomenon was too complex to be grasped, managed, and optimized. Somewhat awkward in the rest of the sequence. Because high modernism, we don't know what is it high modernism here. What is cultural here? There is no clarity. So 4135 or 4153, that's a different ball game now. Let's not discuss that. Is it 4153, 4135? We are here to find the odd one out. And 2 is indeed the odd sentence. If you ask me what is my choice of a sequence, I would start with 4. I would go to 1. I would go to 3. Sorry, yes. I will go to 5 then. So I would choose 4153 sequence. I mean, if at all it's a parajumble, I would choose 4153, making 2 as the odd one out. You might even choose 4135. So that's a different thing, but I'm again telling that 2 is